Hey there everyone, it happened again. Well, me being on hiatus for a little bit, but even so, it happened again. What happened, you ask? I got into Artist Alley, and it was at the convention that it all started at, Animé Los Angeles, located in Long Beach, which is partially why again I was on hiatus. Oops. Still, I was so excited to return to the convention that started my journey into Artist Alley. I say it all the time, especially on stream, by the way, go check it out. But I would honestly love to make this con be my home convention, and after this year, that feeling is even stronger than ever. Before we get into everything though, the art that's going to be shown in the speed paint are some of the new prints that I made for my return to the con. Like last time, not every print will be shown, but I will put them on my website, on my Cardco, listed down below in the description if you're interested in getting some. I will also be adding these to my Ko-fi shop, which will just be now my prints, stickers, and buttons shop, while my acrylic charms are listed on AC Goods, also in the link below. Anyways, on to the story. Since the con is a 4-day con with a day for setup, I'll be calling setup day, day 0. So, much like last year for the con, I was joined by my sister who came along to help me with setup, and again, I'm super grateful for her help. We got there really early, and on the way we dropped off my dog at my dad's to babysit. I called the hotel to let them know that we would be arriving a little bit later that day for check-in, as we had to go and set up my table. We made really good time driving, as we had enough time to get some snacks for the convention weekend, which we would then hide under my table in my wagon. Honestly, I'm really glad that my wagon was able to hold the weight of everything for my booth this year, because while I was packing everything, I sort of got the feeling that my booth was going to be a bit bigger. The thing is, I didn't realize how big it would be. Why is this so important, you ask? Well, last year I realized I only spent time focusing on what I was going to make for the con, and putting thought on my booth was an afterthought. Which, saying right now, if you're going to do Artist Alley, make sure you take into account how you're going to work on your booth, and make your booth look good. So that's why this time I made sure to give equal attention to my merch and to my booth. This will be explained a bit later. So this year I was part of 2 stamp rallies, one being a Deltarune Reso print rally, where each of us created an illustration for the chapter of the game, with 2 illustrations per chapter, and the second one being a clamp rally, where each of us drew a sticker and made a print for a different clamp series. I'll be mostly talking about the Deltarune one, as it was the most active. Also, this was my first time drawing Reso prints. We got to the convention center, and again, learning from last time to just park in the garage as to avoid a scare from last year. If you are curious about it, just go check the ALA video from last year. And I also made sure to let my fellow Stamp Rally members know, as most of them were new to this con, and I didn't want them to have the same scary experience that I did. The other Stamp Rally people hadn't shown up yet, so my sister and I got to work on the booth. Again, by sheer luck, I had gotten a corner booth, and this time it was near the food court. Now, like I said earlier, I made sure to draft up a booth layout so it would be easy for me and my sister to put together. I designed it so the booth would be about 4 cubes high. However, that clearly wasn't the case, as I had made some new prints just before the convention, so we decided to add more grid cubes. After that, the booth ended up being really tall. I'm talking 5 cubes high. And that was just from the front of the booth. Remember, this was my last year's booth, and this was my booth for this year. My sister, also being a crafty person, she also made a section that could be curving around the table corner, and we decided to put my mystery bags, which were called the Owl Mystery Treats, which contained some stickers, a random button, and of course, since this is a ribbon con, ribbons, as ribbons are a very important factor of this convention. I did have to run to a nearby store to get a bin to display them, plus a stamp for my portfolio book, because I left my other ones back at home, despite packing the night before and double checking. I should have triple checked. Oops. But even so, we got everything done in record time, so that was a good thing. Comparing my booth from last year made me feel really confident, even though I was in the very back. Honestly, there has been a debate sometimes where if you're in the very back of the convention, more often than not, you'll have a tough time, but I felt like I could do just fine. I even made a small sign I got inspired by a friend named SGI Creations, highly recommend checking them out, link below, of my little chat mascot Willow holding my sign. We did have to clear it with the convention manager though, because the fire marshal would get upset if it was in the walkway, so we just slightly tilted it so that way it was just within our range of booth. That way, it wouldn't cause a problem for anyone. The one thing that I was the most proud of for my booth upgrade was making my booth be self-serve. Since I have so many designs, and I will probably be making more in the future, this really helped a ton. If you're thinking of doing tabling and you have a ton of sticker designs, I highly recommend self-serves. They are absolute king. and I'll explain more about this on the next day. So after setup was completed, I met up with a few of the Stamp Rally members from the Clamp and from the Deltarune, and I went to go and deliver the stamp cards that I made for the Deltarune Rally, along with my first time attempt at sticker sheets featuring character faces that each of us had relating to our print. After that, my sister and I headed over to the hotel, checked in, went out to go and get dinner, and then later checked back in and proceeded to pass out. And that was just day 0. Now, the next morning, I did have to make a small stop at a small print shop to get some displays made for my social media information, and also for an event that I was taking part in called an OC trading card game, which was an event that I was super excited for. I had found out about it a few weeks before the convention, and I made some art of my comic OCs and my VTuber persona, which to match the theme with my trading cards, I took some inspiration from Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, even adding a bit of a description for myself and for my OCs on the back. I had it possible to get mine where if you followed my socials or my comic, you could get basically my VTuber card, or you could get my comic OCs. And just saying this now, I honestly think that more conventions should do this. There are some people who want to draw their OCs, but of course, since it's not mainstream, it can be tough to get our favorite Blorbos out there in the world. So please, if people want to do this kind of thing, I highly recommend it. It really brought a lot of people around and asked a lot of questions about our characters. I'm also planning on making my VTuber OC card be my new business card eventually, because I really love how this one came out. Anyway, the con did open up a little bit late as there were still some vendors coming in. About half an hour later though, the con did begin. Now, remember how I said my favorite upgrade to my display was my self-serve sticker display? Here's why. It was really tough last year when people said, I want that one with the fangs. Okay, I have several characters of stickers that have fangs. Which one is it? The one with yellow eyes. That could be any Murder Drone character. Does it have a specific thing? It has a pen. Ah, you want J. Now, since I had over 64 designs, making things self-served helped so much. It was kind of funny because the booth was set up in just the right way that it was possible for people to form a line around the corner, and then eventually when they reached me, I could then go ahead and check them out. So I will definitely be doing that again more in the future. Now, even though it was the first day, all of us in the Deltarune Stamp Rally were really shocked about how many people were actually joining it. Like, so much so that the group was just running out of stamp cards, especially on day 1. I printed over 100 of them, and I also made stickers for us to use on these cards as stamps. And putting this here, this was the first stamp rally for our stamp rally leader, Nyamin Ramen, aka Willow, the same name as my chat mascot Owl, and they were just as shocked as we all were. I truly believe the reason why our rally was doing so well was because during the months leading up to the con, we were very communicative on everything. Like, if I had a question about how I set up my file, and I had to ask about it because this was a reso print, something almost all of us in the rally had never done before except for the leader, and they were the expert in reso printing. Seriously, this has to be my most favorite stamp rally I got to try and take part in. After a bit more transactions and a bit more hustle and bustle through the day, in the Discord chat, we decided to order more cards so that people could have a chance to join in. We did have over 70 prize packs, which really surprised people when they found out. And every time someone joined in our booth or came to get a stamp for it, we'd all get comments like, all of you looked like you had a lot of fun setting the stamp rally up. Hearing that made us really happy, as for most of us, again, it was our first time drawing reso. I had also upgraded my button display for the con, as last year it was on a pillowcase, and that didn't work, so I made it into a small shadow box. While I did number them, I forgot to actually number the boxes and bags they were in. So it eventually got to the point, if you know the character's name, please just tell me. I'll make sure to adjust that next time when I do another convention. I also had big buttons, but I was limited. So I had to tell people, hey, come back tomorrow and then I will go ahead and get you your big buttons. I'll have them then. And that leads on to day 2. So we went again to the print shop to get the large buttons printed. I spent most of the time at night in the hotel working on the files. Unfortunately, I realized a little too late that I made the file size wrong, so when they were printed out and eventually made into buttons, you could still kind of see the outline around them, the gray ring that I used as a safety measure. Thankfully, people didn't mind too much. It was only when the button was semi off-center that we were asked to repunch it. Anyways, with the new cards given out to us, I also told the Stamp Rally a small pitch I had to get people interested in joining. There are 8 prints designed by all of us 8 artists, and the stickers, which again are stamps that they collect from each of us, hints as to who drew what print. Since I designed the stamp stickers for each of us, I had the sticker be a character of focus for our print. And after we started doing that, even more people joined the rally. Again, being near the food court did keep my table pretty busy, as when people got their food, they would then be lured in, and honestly, the way that we made it set up, again, made it very easy for a line to form. If I did have too many people, then I would send my sister out to quickly go ahead and handle them, and or tell the customer to go around the corner and wait there at the other opening so my sister could hand them their merchandise. And it did kind of help. Now, I was on the fence about making new charms, as I didn't know if I wanted to continue making them. However, I think I will, as I found out people really wanted my Murder Drone, Knights of Guinevere, and Digital Circus charms. I think if I remember correctly, I ran out of N by the end of the day, and later I found out from congoers that I was essentially the go-to booth for Glitch and some older series, which made me really happy to hear because kind of what happened last year, so I'm glad it carried to this year. I then started calling the tower where the charms were displayed, some stickers below, and the prints above it, the Glitch Tower, as the only prints that were on it were my Murder Drone Portrait series, the new Knights of Guinevere print that I worked on, and my new made print series inspired by episode 7 of The Amazing Digital Circus. I'm honestly still concerned for the characters after what happened in that episode. If you know, you know. The rest of the con went pretty good, however, as I looked into the Discord for the convention, there was a bit of a serious thing coming up. Apparently someone had traced another person's art and that art was being sold in the convention. As for where it was, I do not know. But all I do know is that the original artist brought this up to the staff's attention in the Discord, and also posted about it on social media. Again, while I don't know which booth it was, I only know that ALA staff was quick to act upon this. I don't know if they were kicking the person out, or if they made it that they couldn't sell that sticker. Either way, I am glad that ALA did act upon this because art theft itself is unfortunately becoming a normal thing, and especially with AI art, another topic I'll get into in another video, I'm glad that they took care of this matter very, very quickly. There is one more thing that was brought to the attention of the Discord. I was by the food court area, and while yes, the food court area has kitchens and areas to work on food behind the counters, my stuff was safe so it wouldn't get dirty and or hit with oil splatters. But apparently there was some sort of fish or cooking booth in the middle of the vendor hall. I think it was a food booth selling something like takoyaki or shellfish. I heard about it also when my sister went to go and walk around and check on her stamp rally mates, and she noted to me that people actually avoided that area in the vendor hall where the smell was coming from, and some artists unfortunately had said that the oil splatters and vapors were affecting their merchandise. There were even some people in the con Discord saying that their shellfish allergies were acting up because of those vapors. That is very concerning. I do hope that next year they put that kind of a booth outside, or at the very least, put it somewhere where the ventilation can take the smell out of the convention center so it doesn't damage people's merch, because that is kind of risky. Overall, the rest of the day was a bit of a blur. I was behind my table for most of the day, and only during the last hour I got to walk around to check on my stamp rally mates and a few other artists before closing. I did make sure to let my stamp rallies know that tomorrow the traffic was going to amp up, as again, Saturday was considered the busiest day for ALA. And boy was I right, because the third day was the busiest. Clearly, people had spent the first 2 days just looking around, browsing to figure out what they wanted, and it got so busy at times that I had to send my sister, again, to help with customers outside the booth, because being near the food court kept us very, very busy. Fun! A little while into the con, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was 2 customers that were cosplaying as Ida and Luz from the Owl House. They had told me that the VA, the voice actor, for Andy from Knights of Guinevere, was around, and they apparently pointed her to my booth or told her about it, which honestly made me a little bit nervous, a bit excited if she did decide to show up at my table. But again, because of the rush of the day, and again the rush of the people from the food court and everywhere else, the info did kind of slip my mind, so I kind of forgot about it. During one of the rushes, I met a few customers from last year, including the same Murder Drone N that took me to the Murder Drone meetup last year, and it was so nice to see them again. They brought their friend who cosplayed as Uzi, and it just makes me really happy to see when friends are getting together and doing cosplays together. It's just another thing I like about tabling, and a thing I've discovered about it. I think that what really made me super happy though was seeing previous customers from last year coming up to my table and simply just saying after a quick look, "Dang, you went from level 1 to level 5. Wow. Feels good to know that my improvements in the booth were visible." I later sold out of my Murder Drone V charm, and I only had one Uzi charm left at some point. I don't remember what. I think it was during lunchtime. I don't know. Being the display one. And when I was gonna go and put last one on Uzi and then put it up on my Instagram for a story, someone came up to me in mid-taking the photo, and the situation kind of went like this. Hey, is that your last Uzi charm? Yes, it is. I only have the display left. He then looked at me, looked at the charm, and then looked at me again and said, I'll buy it. Well, okay then. So I guess I might have to make some more charms soon. Later, when people did come to my booth asking for said charms, specifically the Murder Drone ones, I would simply point to my social banner, as I have a store dedicated for my charms being on my AC Goods store, connected to my manufacturer. A bit of a personal thought here, when I've asked people what kind of artist do I seem to you, I've been told print. You feel like a print artist. Which, to be fair, I am starting to see it after having about 30 or so prints, almost now reaching 40, but I've always wanted to make charms, and seeing that people did like my charms made me happy. I say happy too much. Now, the funny part here is that people who were going in the Deltarune Rally came to my booth and wanted to buy Deltarune merch. And while yes, I had been working on prints, not for the rally of course, and stickers for them, I wasn't able to finish them in time, so the stickers then became buttons from the headshots. I did promise though I would finish them up next time, so I would have full bodies of the characters. And since there was a light world and dark world counterpart for most of them, I did mention I was planning on making them into charms, and still do, with each side being a bit different. For the time being though, I merely said, if you want my only Deltarune print, you'll have to finish the DLC, pointing at the stamp rally. People found that kind of funny, considering Chapter 5 is eventually going to show up. I am so excited for it. Small tip, making things being fun or creative when explaining things to customers who are interested in what you're selling, without being overly complicated, helps a ton. When people ask about my stickers and wondering if they can put them on water bottles, I'd simply say this. My stickers are water resistant, they enjoy a nice chill bubble bath, but no dips in the hot water or rides on the roller coaster called the dishwasher, or the ink will have a meltdown. It also makes it pretty memorable as well. After that, it was again more rush and a bit of a blur. After that, my sister and I were so exhausted that once we got back to the hotel, we just passed out. Now, on to the final day of the con, my favorite and most memorable day. When we got to the con early, we checked in on the fellow artists, wishing each other luck and the like. I was exhausted, but I was determined to make it through the final day. But I did not expect what happened before the con opened to the general public to happen. I was still in the middle of setting up for the day, making sure my square reader was working, as for the entire con it had been a bit slow, and I was still a bit groggy as I had some trouble sleeping from the last night. Despite passing out, I woke up around 5 AM strangely, so I wasn't even fully there after a cup of coffee. A customer showed up in my booth and wanted to buy some Knights of Guinevere merch, a print, stickers of the cast, and charms too. Again, I was still really tired, so I wasn't fully awake. In the middle of packing the items into a bag, my sister shot up as soon as they asked for a Frankie charm. She then asked them, wait, are you the voice actor for Andy from Knights of Guinevere? I ask this because the way that you said Frankie sounds like how Andy would say it. To which they then replied, in Andy's voice, yes, I am. After that, my brain fully woke up, realizing that the person in front of me was Zelda Con Black. And I'm gonna be quite honest, it was really cool to talk with her. She even told us how she got to be the VA for Andy, which was a really awesome story to hear about. Though what really shocked me was that when she got one of my Andy charms from my bin and the pen on my booth, asking me, would you like me to sign it? I'm just being honest, I kind of almost flatlined my brain there. I was a bit in shock, but very shyly asked, yes, please, if it's okay. To which then she did. I said thank you so many times after that, and after a bit more talking, I then pointed her to more booths that I knew had Knights of Guinevere art, as she was getting some for the VAs. Which, holy heck, I'm still shocked my art will be shown to them. Gosh, I hope they like it. After a bit more talking, I once again said thank you for coming to my booth, and then she went on her way. The Andy charm I now have in a safe spot on my desk next to my other figures, and I will treasure it forever. The rest of the con was a bit busy as it was the final day, meaning last chance for people to get what they wanted and had been eyeing. It was busy and I was able to sell out of a few prints. Again, another big thing happened, and I think that this is the last thing I'll use to finish off this. One con goer came to my booth and noticed my Zelda Wind Waker Boss Rush series, asking if I was going to make prints for each of the bosses. And of course, I said yes, even pointing out the newest ones, being the Calidemos and Malgara prints. He then did what the previous customer did before. Looked at me, looked at the prints, and simply said with a chuckle, "Well, I best start the collection then. I'll take one of each print." And while I was getting the prints and my square set up, he also then added, "Oh, and can you sign them as well?" Buddy! Ah! I am still not used to people asking me to sign my prints. Thank you, kind sir. We talked a bit about the bosses, and again, I thanked him. I hope that I can get even more Boss Rush series made for next year. It honestly makes me really happy that this small project is bringing back so many memories for people. Not much happened after that, but just like last year, as soon as Artist Alley was ended, the vendor hall and the Artist Alley itself all cheered together in unison. After that, the Deltarune Rally wanted to meet up and exchange things, so we all met up at Yaman's booth to celebrate on a successful con. And we even had enough prizes left over that each of us got to take home a pack. Honestly, this rally was so much fun, and if somehow, by the convention gods, if they are kind to us, we all got in again, we really want to do another rally together. After some more exchanges, and again wishes of congrats to each other, we all got our things and packed up and began the drive home. And that was Anime Los Angeles 2026! Holy crow, I am so grateful I could get to table again at the con that started my journey into Artist Alley, and I really hope I can return to it for 2027. Thank you again to everyone that stopped by the booth this year. If you want to support me, feel free to subscribe as it does help out the channel, or you can check out my Ko-fi for behind the scenes on my art and comics. I recently started a Ko-fi mail club where members can get exclusive stickers and prints, and the theme is decided by Ko-fi members themselves. And again, you get access to sneak peeks on my art and upcoming YouTube videos and projects I'm working on. If you want to see the art drawn live before it becomes a speed paint, consider checking out my Twitch as I stream there pretty often while I hang out with my night owls. And also check out the artists that also were part of the Deltarune Stamp Rally. I've listed them down below in the description. Seriously, they're really cool people. See you next time!